Look at what you're wearing right now. Pick any piece of clothing. A t-shirt, a jacket, a pair of jeans. That item was probably designed in 10 days, ordered in bulk overnight, sewn by someone earning $3 a day, shipped across the ocean in a container, and placed on a shelf with a price tag that has almost nothing to do with what it actually costs to make. The fashion industry produces 100 billion garments every year. 100 billion for 8 billion people on Earth. That is more than 12 new pieces of clothing for every single person on the planet, every single year. And most of it will be thrown away within 12 months. This is not an accident. This is the plan. Fast fashion is one of the largest polluters of clean water on Earth. It generates 92 million tons of textile waste every year. Its supply chains run through some of the poorest countries in the world, where labor laws are weak and oversight is almost non-existent. And the companies behind it have spent decades making sure you don't think too hard about any of that. Because here's what the industry doesn't want you to know. This system was built this way, deliberately, strategically, and it works exactly as intended. To understand how we got here, you have to go back to a time when fashion worked completely differently. Before 1990, the fashion industry operated on 2 seasons a year: spring and summer, fall and winter. Designers spent months on each collection. Fabrics were chosen carefully. Garments were made to last years, not months. If you bought a coat in 1980, you expected to wear it for a decade. Then one company changed everything. Zara. Zara was founded in Spain in 1975 by a man named Amancio Ortega. For years, it was just another clothing retailer. But in the late 1980s, Ortega had an idea that nobody in the industry had tried before. What if, instead of 2 seasons a year, you had 52? A new micro-season every single week. New designs, new trends, new reasons to come back to the store. The key was speed. Zara built a supply chain that could take a design from sketch to store shelf in just 2 weeks. 2 weeks, when competitors were working on 6-month lead times. And it worked. Customers started coming in more often because there was always something new, always something they hadn't seen before, always a reason to buy. That was the breakthrough. And it was also the trap. Because once fashion became faster, it also became cheaper, thinner, more disposable. The rest of the industry watched. And then they copied. H&M, Topshop, Forever 21, Primark. And then, in the 2000s, the internet arrived. And a company called Shein took the entire model and turned it into something far more extreme. Today, Shein adds between 2,000 and 10,000 new products to its app every single day. Not every week, every day. A t-shirt for $2, a dress for $5, a jacket for $8. Prices so low, they stop feeling like a decision. They feel like nothing. And that is when the system reaches its final form. Because when clothing feels disposable, so do the people making it. And so does the planet absorbing it. But somebody is paying for those prices. And it is not the person buying the jacket. Let's talk about where these clothes actually come from. The majority of fast fashion is produced in Bangladesh, Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Ethiopia. These countries have something in common: extremely low labor costs, limited union protections, and governments eager for foreign investment at almost any price. The average garment worker in Bangladesh earns approximately $95 a month. $95 for a full month of work in factories that are often overcrowded, poorly ventilated, structurally unsafe. And this is where the industry always hides behind complexity. Layers of suppliers, layers of subcontractors, layers of plausible deniability. Everyone takes the margin. No one takes the blame. We know this not because the industry told us. We know it because of what happened on April 24th, 2013. The Rana Plaza building in Dhaka, Bangladesh. 8 floors, 5 garment factories inside, thousands of workers. The day before the collapse, cracks had appeared in the building's walls. Workers reported them. Building inspectors were called. The shops on the lower floors closed as a precaution. The danger was visible. Everyone knew. And the factory managers told the garment workers to go in anyway. The next morning, the building collapsed. 1,134 people died. More than 2,000 were injured. It was the deadliest garment industry accident in history. Rescue workers pulling survivors from the rubble found labels inside the collapsed factory. Labels from brands that had publicly denied any connection to the building. Primark, Mango, Benetton, Walmart. The brand said they hadn't known, that their suppliers had subcontracted without permission, that they were shocked, that they were committed to change. Some paid compensation. Most paid as little as legally required. A few paid nothing at all. And the supply chains remained exactly as opaque as they had always been. That is the real scandal. Not that the system failed, that it worked exactly the way it was designed to. Here is the part of the business model most people never see. That $5 Shein t-shirt costs approximately $1.50 to produce. The rest is margin. A $60 H&M jacket costs around $8 to make. A $150 Zara coat, $12 to $15 in production. The brands will tell you the markup pays for design, marketing, logistics, and retail operations. That is partially true. But it doesn't explain why. When labor costs rise in Bangladesh, brands simply move production to Ethiopia. where wages are even lower. The system is not looking for fair. It is looking for cheaper. And then there is the greenwashing. In 2019, H&M launched its Conscious collection, marketed as sustainable, better for the planet, made from organic and recycled materials. In 2022, the Norwegian Consumer Authority investigated those claims. They found that 70% of H&M's sustainability scorecards were misleading or completely unsubstantiated. The Conscious collection was not significantly more sustainable than any other H&M product. It was a marketing exercise designed to make customers feel better about buying more. This is greenwashing, and almost every major fast fashion brand does it. Now look at what this system does to the planet. The fashion industry is responsible for between 8 and 10% of global carbon emissions, more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. It uses 93 billion cubic meters of water every year. And when cotton fields need more water than rivers can give, entire ecosystems disappear. The Aral Sea was once the fourth largest lake in the world, located between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, a thriving ecosystem with fishing villages and wildlife along its shores. Cotton irrigation for the textile industry diverted the rivers feeding it. Today, the Aral Sea is almost completely gone. What remains is a toxic desert. The fishing boats still sit there, stranded on dry land, miles from any water. And every time you wash a synthetic garment, polyester, nylon, acrylic, it releases hundreds of thousands of microplastic fibers straight into the water supply. Microplastics have been found in the deepest parts of the ocean, in Arctic ice, in human blood. And the 92 million tons of textile waste every year, most of it ends up in landfill in developing countries. In Chile's Atacama Desert, there are mountains of discarded fast fashion clothing, visible from space. This is what the business model really does. It hides the cost, then dumps it somewhere far away. So is anything changing? Slowly, very slowly. The European Union passed new textile regulations in 2023. By 2030, brands will be required to make clothes more durable and take responsibility for their disposal. The second-hand market is growing faster than fast fashion itself. Platforms like Depop, Vinted, and ThredUp now handle billions of dollars in second-hand clothing annually. Some brands are experimenting with rental models, repair services, take-back programs. But fast fashion itself is still growing. Shein's revenue grew 40% in 2023 alone. The system is not slowing down. It is accelerating. So what is the real lesson here? Fast fashion did not happen because consumers are careless. And it didn't happen because designers ran out of ideas. It happened because someone figured out that if you make clothes cheap enough and change them fast enough, people stop thinking of clothing as something that should last. They start thinking of it as disposable. And disposable things get replaced constantly. Which means someone is always selling you something new. The price tag on that $5 t-shirt does not tell you the full story. It does not include the $3 a day someone was paid to make it. It does not include the water that was poisoned, the carbon that was emitted, the garment that will sit in a landfill for 200 years. The price is low, but the cost is being paid by someone else. And that is the whole trick of fast fashion. Make the purchase feel cheap. Hide the real bill. Send it somewhere else. If you want to see how another industry built a system designed to hide its real cost from the people paying it, the next file is already on this channel. This has been the Magnate Files.